Thank you so much, Simon. Very, very interesting presentation. And we have, I think, just over 5 minutes until our next presentation, so would invite questions from the room.
Hi, very interesting. Can you just lay out how that would be funded? Are you suggesting that somebody would get an initial fund to go out and answer all those questions, come back to you?
No.
You want a completely...
No. The idea is for the white paper, to actually go out and do the research, we will fund that. I'm hoping we will. So in other words, I'm anticipating that myself and maybe a number of the other networks, there are other networks I've already kind of sounded this out and they are interested, that we will provide funding from the Network Innovation Allowance to fund the white paper, and we can do that. So it would be funded. So I'm looking for a proposal that says we can do this and it's going to cost you this much, and we will pay for that.
Okay. Oh, you sort of answered my question. So NIA and then potentially converting.
Could be NIA, it could be Strategic Innovation Fund, and then basically once we've done the initial discovery, we need to then work out what are the barriers, and one of the barriers would be how much is it going to cost, right? Because it could be 100 million, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. But so I mean, but notionally it would make more sense to do an NIA to get it going quickly and then convert it to SIF should there be traction or the desire to do that to tap a demonstration, to tap the demonstration funding as a seed funding for the broader investment that may need to come from public or other private sources.
So my ambition is to fund this project before the end of this year, right? Okay. Subject to you need to realise, hopefully somebody's explained to this, that at the moment we're at ideation phase. Once I've got some solid proposals, I've still got to get approval, right? Yeah. I've got to get internal approval, and I've got to get it through NEAR, and I've got to get the other networks involved. I am selling it. I was selling it to Laura this morning, so hopefully somebody might tell one of my senior people that it's a good idea, and then it'll make it a bit easier. There is a bit of a risk. But
I think your biggest risk is how many different people are going to try and propose something to you, and choosing the people is actually going to be your challenge.
Yep, hopefully. It's a nice problem to have.
Hey, thank you so much.
Hi there, I really enjoyed your conversation. I'm actually writing a proposal right now, so I'd love to chat to you. So I actually come from open banking industry. I've scaled my first company to 40 million users by working with Barclays and Lloyds, and there's been that type of innovation provided by FCA, which actually enabled our company to grow in the first place. So in the last 9 months, I spent talking to data centers. And I actually got a data center who is willing to innovate. Finally, this year, I'm actually focusing on the DNO aspect of the things and how do we actually bring and converge everything into one place. My company is focused on flow of electrons, money, and data. By that, I mean AI. So I really would love to talk to you. And I have a proposal that I'm actually putting a SIF by the end of this month. I think deadline is 23rd. But I'm also exploring NIA options as well. So I'd love to.
Right. So if I recall, because I probably forgot what I wrote in the challenge statement. In the challenge statement, I did mention that it's an amalgamation of, if you like, the hardware, technology, stability, and fintech side of it. Because the big problem is optimizing the system to make it flexible. You've got to do two things. You've got to optimize it from a network kind of physics perspective. Right? It's got to be safe to run, right? And also, it's a bit controversial, but we should build the smallest network possible to meet the needs of the consumer, because that's cheaper. And then that network has to run in a way that benefits the consumer in producing the lowest cost, and then fintech comes into that. So one of the things, and again, I'm going to name drop, again, speaking to Laura completely by accident, one of the things she said to me is, she said, for this problem, you need people who are outside our industry involved. So if we can get fintech people involved and people who've already looked at this AI problem, that would be really, really encouraging. So I'd love to talk to you about it.
Sure. And if it helps, I do have physics background and fintech background. So I'm trying to come with completely different background to this.
Yeah, question. And I think that's the kind of thinking we need this, right? Because that's the fundamental question for me. Build the smallest network that's the most reliable, that delivers the highest value to the customer. At the moment, I would argue we're building, we might how do we know we're building the right network? And AI might be able to answer that question because it's a multivariate, very complex problem. We actually looked at whether quantum computing could help with solving that problem as well. So there might be a quantum computing aspect to it, but that's a bit flaky still at the moment in my head. Okay. Thank you. There's one at the back. How you doing?
I'm good, Simon, sorry. Just a very quick one. It's a great idea because it collectively brings everything together, right? So a centre for something. So we're not looking at the solution, you're almost looking at the problem statement for this one, right, to begin with.
I don't know if I understand the problem yet.
Yeah, no, that's fine. For me, one of the things that comes up is sustainability, i.e. the sustainability of that institute, whatever it looks like.
Yeah.
And maybe that is part of the work. And I'm not throwing the problem out. I'm almost putting a constraint, if that makes sense, because you can develop it, but it can't keep running via NIA money.
No, absolutely not.
So you have to kind of build a commercial angle to it that opens it up. But I do agree.
So obviously anybody who takes on the project, I would obviously we give them some guidance, but the first thing you go and do is look at, well, how did the HVDC centre get set up?
You have a framework for
because you have a framework.
You
already have the framework for it. And also you can go and look at National Grid's DSide Centre that's already been set up.
Another example.
The PNDC are another example of.
I mean, there are energy institutes, for example, there's a lot of them that work like this. It's that question of...
The other question, and somebody gave me a brief hint on this, has this been tried before and did it fail? So I think there's been a number of institutes involved in high-performance computing that got a lot of criticism from the government auditor recently, but I'm not going to mention.
You're opening it up, though, so you're almost taking it holistically. So it's not confined to, let's say, data for monitoring only. It's like everything, design and everything. So I can see that. Okay.
So it's an institute that works on the problems that we deem that. So one of the things is we have to decide what are the priority problems for them to work on once we set it up. So they're not going to work on every IR problem, but they're going to work on the problems that we prioritise. So there'll need to be a steering group. There needs to be all of that. Yeah. Question.
Just to flag in case you aren't aware, Lucy Yu, the government AI Clean Power Champion, is running a grid review, looking at some of the ambitious long-term stuff and making recommendations to government and funding and has access.
So whoever takes on this project has to have the ability to go and talk to government as well about what they're doing. Because I do see, I am aware there's a lot of initiatives going on. The danger is they're all disparate and they're not aligned. And it's not always the case that the people doing the reviews are actually talking to the people who are actually having to go and use it. So because just bear in mind, there is a lot of skepticism in the energy industry and the networks industry about the role of AI anyway. So, and my problem is, it's great. Let's have another government recommendation. I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested in is, right, this is a good idea, yes. If it is a good idea, what are the options? How would we evaluate the options? What's the next tangible step we will need to take to make it happen? Right. So I'm very focused on. So this project in its own right has to be agile. Right. Yeah. I don't want a 5-year review, and So, but we've done it before. The HVDC, they did it with the HVDC centre. So somebody must have been able to, because that would have been a big risk when they set that up. And if anybody's been there, it's quite an expensive thing to run. I think the computers alone are $500,000 each. So.